Hi, thanks for joining me for this week's quick business tip. If the idea of raising your prices is making you kind of break out into a cold sweat, this episode is for you. Today, we are going to throw away all of those money blocks and unlock the power that comes from increasing your pricing with confidence. Um, we want to start charging what we are actually worth and attracting the perfect client that sees your value. Now, we all know that a lot of small businesses and entrepreneurs are undercharging for their services. And there is a psychology behind this. And a lot of times it has to do with fear, lack of clarity, and honestly, not knowing your value or not feeling that you are worthy of charging that higher price. So, if any of this sounds familiar, really pay attention. I'm going to give you some actionable steps that you can take today to reevaluate and start increasing your pricing and attracting those clients that are more than happy to write you that check. First, let's go dive into what the problem is when you are undercharging for your services. You typically only attract bargain hunters. So these are clients that are so focused on that low price that they're probably not going to be the best fit for you. And they are much more likely to jump ship when it does come time for you to raise your prices. Or they're going to jump ship as soon as they see someone else who's charging a lower price. Low prices also undermine your expertise. When you charge so far below the rest of your competition and you are providing the same or greater value than your competition, people really start to question what's wrong. Are you not really producing the quality work that they are expecting? Are you not, following through on your customer service? Like, why are your prices so low? I know that I've worked with a lot of not-for-profit organizations on their board. And typically what they do when they send out a bunch of RFPs is they throw away all the lowballs. They don't even give them consideration. And they usually throw out the top two or three way high priced options, and they want to pick something in the middle. So, there could be a lot of times where you feel like you are positioning yourself to get a yes from a client, and they are automatically saying no because you're priced so far below your actual value. The third problem that happens with underpricing your services is that you are just headed for burnout. You have to hustle way too hard and close way too many clients to make up for the rates that you shouldn't be charging in the first place. This only leads to exhaustion and then often leads to resentment, not only of the business itself, but the clients that you sold on those lower prices. So I'm going to share with you a story. When I first started in business 23 years ago, I was terrified every time I had to do a sales pitch, and it came to the point in the pitch where we were going to talk about pricing. And more often than not, I would walk in there with a price in my head. I would start talking through the sales conversation. I'd go to say the price out loud, and I'd say a lower number. Sometimes I would even cut that rate in half. And you know what? Those lower price clients were always a nightmare. They wanted expected far more than I had laid out in the scope of work. They questioned everything I did, and it took me probably longer than it should have, but I learned my lesson because when you price yourself at a higher rate, still creating value for your client, you not only up-level your pricing, you up-level your clients. And you bring in the kind of person that values what you do, knows that you have the experience and the expertise to deliver, and trusts you completely. So, one of the things that we need to get through our heads as small business owners and entrepreneurs is that charging more is not about greed. It's about recognizing the problem that you solve for your client and the value of having that problem solved to your client. So, here are a few ways how you can reframe thinking about your pricing. If you focus on the outcomes for your clients as opposed to the cost to your clients, it gets a little bit easier to start having these conversations. So think about what problem you solve, what results your client gets, like how is their business different? How are their lives changed? How are they either making more money or saving money as a result of the services that you deliver? And then create your pricing based on that. Now, I significantly increase my pricing, but my clients every single time get at least double ROI from what they are paying me. And oftentimes they are increasing their investment by 3 to 5 times. So if they're spending $10,000 with me, they're making $50,000 in sales that they wouldn't have made without going through the program that they went through with me. And knowing that I give them those kind of results makes it so that I don't even bat an eye when I ask them to pay me $10,000. Part of that is step number 2, which is knowing your worth. So, what experience, what skills, what unique approach do you bring to the table? And don't compare yourselves to other people. Don't compare yourselves to someone who's charging 10 times what you're charging, and never compare yourself to someone who's brand new in the business. You have to know what your worth is to your perfect, ideal, center of the bullseye client. Which brings me to tip number 3, and that is really figuring out who that ideal client is. Because the people that value what you offer are going to be more than happy to pay for it. And trying to be the cheapest kid on the block is not going to serve you or your clients well. So when you are thinking about your ideal client, really start thinking about the ideal client that can not only afford you, but is more than happy to pay you what you're worth. And as always, confidence is key here. If you don't believe that you are worth what you want to charge, then your clients won't either. So you really have to dig deep and spend some time with yourself and work through maybe some old deep-seated problems as to why you think that you're not worth increasing your prices. So, here are some ways that you can sort of work through some of your pricing mindset issues. One great way to do it is by doing market research. You need to compare your services to other professionals that provide similar services with a similar value. You don't want to be the cheapest. You probably don't want to be more expensive than anyone else. But if you're kind of falling right around the median range, that is where you're going to find most of your sales are successful. You can also package your offer. So creating bundles or maybe some tiered pricing. So like basic, premium, or basic plus and premium. These are going to give your clients some options while still keeping your prices in the higher range. So even your basic shouldn't be the cheapest option, but it makes the premium one that much easier to sell because they're getting more value at like not 10 times the price. That makes sense. You also want to articulate your value. So make it really clear on your websites, in your proposals, in your emails. Anytime that you are talking about pricing, you want to make sure that you not only list the features or the client deliverables, but the benefits that go along with it. Because it's those benefits that are where people really start seeing the value behind what you're providing. And the fourth thing that you can do to work through some of these money mindset issues is you need to be able to handle objectives. So when someone comes back to you with like, oh, that's more than I was looking to spend, or you're too expensive, you can go about it one of two ways. You can either review with them the benefits and the value behind working with you, or you simply know that these are not your people. They are not your ideal client. Not everyone is going to be your ideal client. And trust me, you don't want to work with everyone. If you're too expensive for someone, then they're not yours. You can just walk away with peace of mind. Because when you charge what you really deserve to charge, this wonderful, magical, amazing thing happens. The right clients start to show up. You start to feel more valued, and your business is really going to take off and just catapult itself to that next level of success. So take a little time today, reevaluate what you're charging through the lens of some of the things that we talked about here. And let's get those money blocks out of your mind and start building a business that fuels your bank account and brings you joy. Thanks again for watching Quick Business Tips. I am Jennifer with Limitless Impact Agency.